A second to clear. All right, welcome to episode 4, season 2, episode 4 of the Deke Snipe Silly podcast with your hosts, Ryan Gates, Kylie Murren, Chad Newman, and of course, newcomer to the show, Paddy Phillips. We'll soon be able to stop saying that because he's been on now more than half of us anyway.
I want to be the rookie.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Good being a rookie.
Yeah.
Rookie hazing is what it's all about. This is a special episode, guys. We threw this one together last minute based on some breaking news locally. If you haven't heard about it, then you've been under a rock, certainly in Newfoundland.
Yes.
But it's making headlines all across North America right now.
Sports Illustrated last night.
Yeah, absolutely. The Newfoundland Growlers, right before getting ready to open up their season here in St. John's, got tossed into the arena downtown St. John's.
Evicted.
Evicted.
In St. John's.
So here we are.
Yeah.
We are lucky enough to be to have friends of the show. You've seen some of our friends back multiple times, like Mr. Joe Bowen. If you haven't caught that episode, make sure you tune in. He was on a couple episodes ago for episode 1. But our good friend Dean MacDonald is back. Dean owns the Newfoundland Growlers, as well as the St. John's Edge, Trois-Rivieres Lions expansion team in the ECHL, and the Iowa Heartlanders. I hope I got that right. But in any case, Dean's a fantastic guy. He's treated us like gold. Again, we're a bunch of newbie podcasters in a big market here, and Dean's always taking time for us and giving us the opportunity to cover Growlers and Growlers Nation. So we've got Dean back again. He's had a busy 72 hours. So taking the time to jump on with us is much appreciated. So in doing so, we're going to do a little giveaway on this one. This is our first ever giveaway, really, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Going
We've got a brand new right here, Growlers Nation hat.
Oh,
You like that?
sick.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
I like
Can
it.
I enter the contest?
No, you can't.
I was going to ask the same thing. I don't have one of those.
All you got to do, folks, is like and share and comment. That's all I'm asking you to do. You hit that like, share, and comment. And if anybody catches Paddy with a burner account, you let me know. We'll toss him out. But yeah, we got a beauty of a hat that was passed along to us from the Growlers Nation.
Are we going to open this up on every social media platform, or is this just Facebook, or how are we doing this?
If it's just for our Facebook feed, yep. So our Facebook video, like, share,
On the Facebook. Okay.
like, share, and comment. That's all we're looking for.
And on the
Cool.
original post.
On the
Yep.
Deep Night Silly page.
Deke Snipe Silly
Yes.
page on Facebook. You got it, guys.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
One more thing to mention before
are we picking the
jump
winner?
on with Dean.
We have to
We've got a sponsor out of Ontario. None of this happens without our sponsor. Fantastic people, Todd and the good people at PHG Sports, Whitby, Ontario. Again, can't thank them enough. If you're looking for signed merchandise, hand signed gear by professional athletes, PHG Sports is the place to go. They also run the Costco Roadshow. Of course, you see that in Costco's right across Canada, and you'll get your hand signed merchandise there. So PHG Sports, that's where the pros sign. www.phgsports.com.
In Peterborough, Ontario until November 7th.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's the update as to where they're sitting right now. So again, guys, check out PHG and strap in. We're going to get the dirt with Dean MacDonald coming up. Titter tatter. Let's get at her.
Hasn't been boring. Hasn't been nice.
Oh, you've been
You
keeping
know,
us busy.
Yeah, nothing that I'm surprised at. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think us taxpayers are always surprised every time it hits the news. It's like, what now?
It's been unbelievable, but that's it. You know,
So,
you gotta,
That's
it's kind of, I'm in the fight, and it's kind of one of those things. I'm just not going to let them get away with this nonsense. So,
Good for you.
no, that's Patty. That's what we got to do. We got to fight it, man. It's
enough is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going well down in Trois-Rivieres in Iowa. Looking
Yeah, it's
good.
going really well. Trois-Rivieres has been sensational. We actually manage that building. So, we're in charge of food and beverage and ticketing and programming in the building. In fact, we got some boxing matches coming up there next
Nice.
month.
Good.
So just, that's an environment that you can make really successful. It's a new building, also has a practice rink in it. The dressing rooms and everything are just off the charts. Like, super professional. Sold out the first couple of nights last week. And Iowa is an absolutely beautiful building. We have this retail space there that, is like being in the Montreal Forum or something. It's massive. We did, first night sales and merchandise was over $30,000 US, which was just, we couldn't believe it. So our first couple of games were good. Well, we actually played at home on Friday, then we went on the road to Kansas City the next night, and then we played on Wednesday night. Last night actually, lost in overtime, but we only had like 1,500 people there last night, and so it's going to be some work in that market. Hockey is, we're in the middle of, we're like on the doorstep of the University of Iowa, and one of the nationally ranked football teams, so they're football crazy. So Friday nights is high school football night, Friday night lights, and they get thousands at a football game. So what we're being told by the city is once the football kind of dims down, they expect that people will start getting bigger crowds. But we got some work to do there. It's a different product, new product, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
No,
Looks
I've
great.
read a lot of great articles and features from primarily not Newfoundland-based reporters, which is the key. I mean, I've had to hit the translate button in Quebec a few times, but point being is everything I'm reading is fantastic. The reviews on both franchises. I mean, at the gate, it's awfully early, of course, to be drawn any conclusions, but everything so far is as good as it was when the Growlers first came to town. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that, we're particularly proud of the branding of both teams. We're getting a lot of kudos for the logos and the naming and all that. And so,
amazing.
it's, same folks, they're all part of our group, came up with those. And, we're getting, a lot of kudos that, best logos in sports and all that. And then, the other thing that's kind of interesting is like Trois-Rivieres, unfortunately, played us 3 times to start their season, and lost all 3 times. And but they're a really good club, and they're new, so the first night nerves. But I mean, in the game on Tuesday night, I mean, they outplayed us. I mean, they outshot us early. They had a bunch of power plays they didn't convert on, fortunately for us. I don't know if you saw that game, the first goal we scored, which was the goaltender went to clear the puck and put it on. In it goes. So we could have easily lost that game. So over the course of the season, as they get a little seasoned themselves, I would not be surprised that we're 1-2 in the standings at the end of the year.
Oh wow!
I know this. I'd like it to be that we're not playing them in the first round.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
So who do you cheer for then, Dean? That's the big question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously a Growler guy. That's not changing. I want those clubs to be successful, clearly, and do well. But it's first love.
Yeah. I won't be
What
mad
does
if
that
you
look
wear
like?
if you wear a
Good
Lions shirt. I
answer.
won't be mad at you up there. But wear it up there, not here. That's all.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that. And it was funny on opening night in Trois-Rivieres. I decided, which I've never done. I decided to wear the championship ring.
Seen that.
So as I walked out on the ice, I kind of looked over at the Growlers bench and flashed the ring, and the guys were chuckling. And then at the center ice puck drop, we had the Trois-Rivieres captain, and of course Melindy, and I had the puck in my hand with the big old friggin' championship ring, and Melindy looked down and went, "Nice ring." And I said, "Yeah, okay, let's why don't we make it 2?" And so it was kind of funny, we had some fun with it.
touching
Dean,
on
what kind of
James.
restriction? Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
I
Ron.
just want to touch on James briefly. How did that come about, Dean? 'Cause, I mean, all things were pointing towards him at a successful career as a firefighter and just moving on from hockey. How did that come about?
Yeah, we reached out and just asked if there was still a level of interest there. This discussions were going on quite some time. We were waiting to see what COVID protocols are going to be. Had to wait to talk to the Leafs. One of the things about James is that the Leafs absolutely love his presence. And when you bring people like John's, as we have in the first 2 seasons, and there's a lot of new names, and they're from a whole bunch of different places, and I can tell you most of them probably don't even know where Newfoundland is. When the season starts, having that nucleus, and particularly with Zach and Marcus as well, having that nucleus of local boys who kind of show them the ropes and get them comfortable and are strong leaders in the dressing room makes a big difference. And James has really kept himself fit. I mean, he's very fit, and I think he's actually played really, really well to start the season. And we've got a small, fast team. Same old story for us, but you got to have a little bit of grit there. And no one likes to tangle with James.
No, I'm sure.
No.
No, that's pure gold's there.
So Dean, what does that look like? I always wondered, since you have 3 franchises in the same league, like, do you have certain restrictions in place in terms of budgets that you can spend per team? What does that look like? Because I was dumbfounded to hear that you've had that again when you were announcing the 2 additional teams. That was permitted, but I suspect there were some restrictions there.
Oh yeah, the rules are super strict, in terms of what cannot happen. So you can't trade between teams, you can't share information between teams, and I have to say it's not difficult, because each of the teams are far away. We have a totally different coaching staff. We're affiliated, with Minnesota, obviously, in Iowa, and then Canadians in Trois-Rivieres. So most of the interaction on coaching and players is up and down, vertical. There's no discussion across. We're not discussing players with anybody else. And in fact, I was on a call. I was out to supper with Snowy before he went to Toronto, just to say thank you with him and Daryl, and just casually said, so what do you think of the players Trois-Rivieres are drafting? And he said, I'm not allowed to comment. I went, oh my God, I'm sorry. I forgot that. So everyone takes it very seriously. Ultimately, the league would prefer not to have one owner having 3 teams. And which makes sense. There's 2 other owners in the league that have 2 teams, and so ultimately, what we told them as we went into these markets is we're going to look for partners, so that ultimately we won't be just owning 3 teams. Maybe we might still have a interest in some of the other teams, but the ultimate goal is to not be in that situation. And then one of the things in Iowa that really attracted us to Iowa was the city they have an area called the River Landing area, and they've taken the whole downtown and regentrified it. So there's a river runs through, and now they have the arena there. They have a whole bunch of bars and retail space there. They have some new apartment buildings there, hotels there. So it's really been just, absolutely rebuilt up in the last 7 or 8 years. And there's this massive park that's kind of on the river edge, just like a stone's throw from the arena. And so that's now under our management. And so we're going to be building an amphitheater there and turn it into, we're hoping to have a outdoor rink there in the winter, and 12 to 15 concerts there a year, and festivals. And so it's trying to build something meaningful there. And the city is really, really good to work with.
So I'm like, screw you, MacDonald. How come you're not doing that in St. John's? Why? Is there something in your way?
Yeah, that's
I wonder what.
Yeah, look, we've, we're going to obviously, we're so disappointed with how that's turned out. The allegations are unwarranted. They're wrong. They take the view that if Growlers Nation goes out and criticizes them for not having any ticket sales available, and that public scrutiny and people complaining is somehow us inciting it. When the reality, look, folks, if you're in the business of selling tickets and you're not selling tickets, or you're at an airline, or you run a cable company and the TV's off there, if you're in a consumer-facing business, you are going to sometimes get irate customers who are going to blast the crap out of you, and but it's not harassment. And we've documented everything. All our correspondence with the city has been very professional. And look, we have a great group of people who work with us, and this has been extremely disappointing. And in fact, they didn't even follow their own rules on workplace safety, because we shouldn't be evicted. There's a process, there's a mediation process, there's a whole bunch of things that are supposed to happen first. So, but if you're not ready for opening night, because there's a myriad of issues in your arena, maybe it's a good way to just deflect.
Yeah, you never know. And this, I mean, you see everybody's comments online, and I'm not saying it is, because I can't say for sure, because every bit of information we get is pretty vague.
Yeah.
And I get it. If somebody wants to be protected, it's embarrassing, and that's all good. I understand. It's just, I think after all the continuous frustrations, it's, I think the people are kind of done. They don't want to hear something else, and they're kind of,
No, sure.
it's kind of hard to believe, but I can't say I don't believe it, because I would hate to think that somebody's being hurt on the other end somehow. You have
to workplace harassment, workplace safety, something that's everyone takes seriously. We certainly take it in our organization, and wouldn't tolerate it if any of our employees were under any kind of unwarranted duress. And but the reality in this case is, I think the investigation will show that there's nothing there, and but unfortunately that process will probably take months to filter through the system.
So I mean, you've been in business for ever, and you must have seen in one way or another similar issues in HR type issues in and around different businesses. Like, how long can this kind of investigation take, like, realistically? Are you talking about months, or is this,
Yeah, no, I think it'll be months, because they move slow, and you want it to be thorough, independent. And my experience from an HR side, and I've had, I was at Rogers, I think I had 8,000 employees under me. At Tuckamore, I had over 6,000. And if you have an incident, you have to accept, and you have to pursue both sides to the story. But the exercise is one of getting the facts, meeting with everybody, mediating it if it can be mediated and resolved. But when we were served with notice, our response first was, and in fact they said, look, if you retract a letter, that one of the things was, if you retract the letter you wrote and change some words, this goes away. But if you stand on it, we're going to have to investigate. So our response was, no, we stand on the letter because the letter is truthful. So why would we change the truth? And we welcome an investigation because we think it's warranted. That's why we wrote the letter. We're not happy with some actions here, and so we want this investigated. So, look, but generally, you would meet. We haven't met. I think I've stated. The St. John Sports and Entertainment and Council basically heard some allegations and took this action. They didn't ask to meet with us, which would be just normal course, to hear the other side of the story, just to make sure, like, to say, okay, well, we better hear the other side. So I find that incredibly baffling, and I'm sure whoever looks at at this whole thing will probably scratch their head in the same manner.
The way I see it, and like I said, I'm no pro when it comes to any of these issues, but it's like the same thing in any workplace, and I've worked in many of them. If there's an issue, you don't shut down the whole business.
No,
right?
absolutely.
You know, if there's an issue with 1 employee, 2 employees, 10 employees, you deal with those people and the issue individually and separate. It doesn't shut everything down, you know, cold turkey. And that's what shocked me the most. I was like, this must be really, really serious stuff for them to just completely pull the rug out. And I was like, no, it's probably not. But then again, you really don't know when you're on the outside looking in.
No, and it's tough to opine on it, obviously, because you are on the outside. But you know, in the last 24 hours, you know, it's a leading sports story across North America, and to basically penalize us without any due process or investigation to have any conclusion is absolutely dumbfounding.
Yeah, and this is a professional hockey league. It's not just one isolated team that just plays at Mall 1 and goes home. I mean, you have to travel. There's a lot of money got into logistics. How does the ECHL handle this?
Well, they're probably going to be shoulder to shoulder with us on a lawsuit, obviously, and they take it very seriously. It's impacted a whole bunch of teams and travel. You know, we've already had to change all the travel and reservations for the 2 teams that were supposed to come in the next 2 home dates, and they'll now be going to Toronto. So it's really expensive.
And they also have a team to find lodging for in Toronto as well. I mean, how does that go?
We're all over that, and you know, you've got a whole bunch of people who just basically in the last few weeks came to St. John's with girlfriends and family and all that, and they're all set up in lodgings, and suddenly now we're going to send these players away in the next few days, and they'll be on the road for a month.
Yeah.
The timing of this is very interesting. From reports last week that there's a technical issue with single game sales, to yourself coming out in the media and talking about building a new arena in the region, to then getting, for lack of a better word, booted out. Is that a sheer coincidence, or is one leading to another? I mean, you know, you would need Columbo to figure this out. You know, it as I said before, it's baffling. You know, we actually met with the city when the Leafs were in town and told the city that, look, we're going to be building a new arena. We have to. We can't be in a situation at the end of August again where we don't have a lease in place, and Leafs are trying to attract players and they can't tell them where they're playing. They're trying to attract coaches. They can't tell them where they're playing and where their kids can go to school. So we just said, look, guys, we got to take action. And so this is what we're going to do. But we do expect you to respect the terms of the lease. And you know, I know they think that we're not planning to do that, but you know, we are. So, and you know what, like over the years, we've had some really good hockey teams here. But there's a pattern developing from when, I can't recall back from the Leaf days, but the Dobbins had challenges with the city with the Fog Devils. Danny had problems with the Ice Caps. Then you've had challenges with the Edge and with the Growlers. I think I can remember stories back when the Scotties were here in the mid 2000s. There had been challenges of nickeling, diming, and all those things. Yeah. I don't know what the underlying theme is here, but there seems to be a lack of willing to have a major tenant in the building. So as a taxpayer, which I'm not one, but
lucky you.
I'm in paradise, but like that's a big controversy. You've got a big asset down there and you can't get along with your major tenants across multiple owners. It's not like there's a common denominator here on the ownership side. It's more of on the city. So, and a lot of city councils have come and go. So the council that's there now is not the council that was there with the Fog Devils. So
yeah, look, you know, Patty, I think there's a few things here that should be undertaken. One is they need an outside independent review of the operations of the building, because of the history of the building, and notwithstanding what we've been through in the last 3 or 4 years, because we have myriad of examples of what you would say is really needs to be looked at. So you don't want council to be doing it. You don't want the St. John's Sports and Entertainment Board to be doing it, because there's conflict, and you need independence. So that's point one. Point two is the construction of the board of St. John's Sports and Entertainment. Is set up in a very, in a modern management world, is the governance is really bad. So the majority of the board is made up of either city employees or people who are employed by the city through, Destination St. John's or whatever. So it's not actually independent. And the mandate and the terms of reference of the board is that it's supposed to be independent. So in the last few years, you've had Sandy Hickman as the chair, and then Jamie Corab, and now it's Breen, and then soon to be Ron. They're actually breaking the constitution of the board, which says a politician can't be chair. That's so right. They're ignoring all the rules they put in place. And then, add to that, they've had 2 of the KPMG studies done. It's almost maddening in that situation that, those 2 studies were done, and in neither study did they bother to talk to the largest tenant, which is us. Like, it would seem to me that if I was doing a study on the building and use of the building and how it's being managed, that I might come and talk to the largest tenant to say, hey, how is that going? So that's been perplexing. And then you have an environment where, we came to the building specifically under the guise that we said, look, we're working with the Maple Leafs. We will bring a team to St. John's, providing we have management of the facility, because we can't make the economics work. Otherwise, that was guaranteed. That went out the window with no explanation. We, of course, then the city said, look, they're looking for suggestions, and we came forward with a $25 million proposal. And I think we talked about this last time I was on the show, and came forward with a proposal, and and the proposal that was, I think, very thoughtful, and a lot of effort and time put into the planning. And we had consultants from Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and from Enthusiast Gaming, and so we really pulled out all the stops. And in doing so, we guaranteed there'd be no subsidy anymore. The subsidy would be gone. We could not get a meeting on that. Like, they wouldn't meet with us. Like if I landed from New York, I'm telling you, I would have got a meeting. And so, this is about taxpayers ultimately, and hopefully creating a good environment in the city and entertainment, but ultimately it's about taxpayers. So if you're doing your job as a counselor, wouldn't you say, hey, why don't we talk to this guy? Why don't we see, is there any merit in the idea?
Yeah.
The response to that was, no, we can't meet with them because, we could be running a process. And if we do run a process, we don't want to bias the process. And so, we can't just go out and deal with an unsolicited proposal. But they took an unsolicited proposal for the ABA basketball. They did an unsolicited proposal for the naming rights.
The naming, yeah.
So it's just like, guys, so somebody independent needs to look at this and say, like, what's going on? It's all over the map. And
it don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And so I think ultimately, if there's any good news in what's happening to us, I think it's going to shine a light on what's happening down there, and maybe there can be some positive change.
Well, hopefully. I mean, we're all super excited for hockey to come back this year.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get the people back in the seats, and it was just taken from us again.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, and people are going to boil over. It's going to happen. And I mean, looking at the page, you can always see the people from out of town, like, they want to buy single tickets, come in and spend the night at a hotel.
Yeah.
Spend money downtown, and they're getting frustrated because they can't even do that.
Well, you have a lot of people, and a lot of people have reached out to me in the last couple of days, and say, you know, geez, we bought season tickets and we're not even from town and we're coming in. We got hotel rented for the weekend. I saw somewhere tonight someone had up that, you know, Delta was losing 600 hotel nights. That's a big hit to their
It's
business.
a monster.
Especially in this economy with COVID.
Yeah.
Not
I
easy to
got
fill
Lucky to
those
get it.
rooms.
Yeah.
I got a friend who actually had a post on Facebook. She said in November alone, she's missing 24 5-hour shifts.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like that's another side of it that we never even really thought of. We've just
Very good point.
more or less been thinking about the hockey part of it, but there's all
Yeah.
these staff that are now without these jobs, and it's just oh my god.
Trickle effect can be significant.
Yeah. And, you know, when you know, everyone goes, you know, oh my God, how serious were these allegations and that? And someone told me today that employees of Mile One phoned into Oz FM to say that they felt like they just wanted people to know that they've been treated by us like gold. So that's really a
Nice.
great endorsement to say, hey guys, like, you know, these aren't a bunch of assholes that you're
Yeah.
dealing with.
The boogeyman.
Yeah.
Just in time for Halloween.
I mean,
Well,
it more or less drags your name through the mud. You know what
Oh
I
my
mean?
God.
These allegations.
Yeah, look, it's serious.
Your name.
Yeah.
And
That's,
it's just, I don't know.
Well, they've been kicking Dean around the mud puddle for a while. Just dragging him
it's
through it
just-
is
it's
no
quite the
big deal at this
time
point, I
is
don't
so
think.
no,
convenient.
But
no.
No.
like
think
I find
I'm
it oh sorry.
No, I'm not on their Christmas card list because I keep asking questions and I keep making them accountable for what they're supposed to be doing there, and they don't want to be held accountable.
No,
Dean,
that's right.
And
my
so you
favorite
should.
post that I've read in the last little while, 'cause I mean, obviously we're all internet nerds. We run a podcast, we run fan sites, we're hockey nerds and internet nerds. And my favorite
Yeah.
quote that I've seen recently was, "Dean gets the key to the city of Iowa, but in St. John's can't get a key to the bathroom."
Yeah, it's,
Man, what a sin.
So
yeah. Oh well, you know, it's okay. You know, like you
Mhm.
know, we're pretty. You know, we had a chance in last winter to move the team to Trois-Rivieres, and we wouldn't have to pay a franchise fee in Trois-Rivieres. We just would have moved it and would have made life
Mhm.
really, really easy. And despite the fact we had no lease at the time and all the nonsense that was going on with the edge and all that, we said, no, look, you know, we want to be here. So, you know, it's going to be a slug, but we'll figure it out.
And that's why we started
Means a lot.
everything in the first place. We want hockey to stay in Newfoundland.
Yeah,
We don't want to
absolutely.
keep changing. We want a team. You brought us a championship team and they want to be here. It's affiliated with the Leafs. I mean, what else do you want? It's
Really?
what we
Yeah,
want.
and it's good hockey. You know,
It
like,
is.
I mean,
It's fantastic.
it's a fast team we have. Like, this is an exciting group to watch.
Yeah, it's
Well, when-
another incubator league for the NHL. I mean, it's
when,
Yeah,
when, you, when
absolutely.
you see players playing in St. John's at the ECHL level, who the following season are going to be impact players with the Marlies, obviously the system works, right?
right.
Yeah,
You've
Oh,
got
look,
guys who've moved on from here, and they're quality, and the other way around as well. I mean, we got to see Seymour Diargachensa a couple of years ago for a cup of coffee in St. John's. But point being, he got an opportunity to play here, get a little experience, and the fans got exposed to that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's clearly going to play in the NHL somewhere someday.
I've spoken to the Leafs about that, and they're of the same view. And you know, you take the ECHL, and you know, there's been a lot of Europeans in the last few years in the league, and you know, you can see why maybe they're even, you know, a step above ECHL, but you know, they haven't played on the small ice surface, so we're gonna throw them down there to indoctrinate them. They put great goaltenders in the league because they don't want to have two great goaltenders on the Marlies. Not that they don't, but you know, they're going to give goaltenders minutes. So
Yeah, they
you
want
know,
to breed starters.
yeah. So you know, you can really see, and it's interesting now because we're involved with the two other organizations. You can see, you know, different styles and different interests in what they're trying to accomplish. But it's very clear that they do view it as a development league, and there's a lot of strategy around it. So you know, talking to Marc-Andre Bergeron, who's the GM in Trois-Rivieres, I mean, he's linked into the Habs constantly, and you know, we've been laughing about that team because basically there's I think there's one Anglophone on the team, there's one Russian, and every other kid on the team is French Canadian. And so that they're like the old Canadians used to have all the draftees. No one else drafted French Canadian, but so now we're getting all the stars from Quebec Junior. They all want to play in their home province, so it's a pretty smart strategy.
It is.
Absolutely.
I mean, we got that happening here. I mean, Nathan Knoll is he's a draft pick. He's here. He wants to play at home.
Yeah. He's and it's been interesting to watch him because when I watched the game on Tuesday night, it's because he hasn't played in a long while. I think it was taking him a little while to get his legs on there, but now he's out there. He's tough. He's gritty. He's really smart with the puck.
He's fast.
Yeah. So it's like, wow, this kid's going to be good.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that you got to love is when we talk about players, new players coming into the island and not having been here before, not familiar with the lay of the land. It's one thing to have just your token Newfoundlander on the team, but it's a whole different thing when your Newfoundland players are some of your best players, and that's what people really love.
They represent our leadership team, our two assistant captain, and it's interesting to see. Nate Knoll, obviously, but it's interesting to see how much respect other teams have for those guys. I mean, Zach O'Brien is, one of the top 10 players in the league without a doubt. And when you're watching it on TV or you're watching it live, you can see his eye-hand coordination. You can see how he conducts himself. Man, he's,
next level.
Yeah, we should be proud that he's from the Rock.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite hockey players ever. that's a mouthful for me. I just love the guy. The fact that he's from here and I'm getting to watch him play from here, it's just so, I don't know. I just love it. I'm a sucker for
Why we do it.
Yeah.
Dean, what does a Shanahan or a Dubas or a Gilman, what's their view on this? I can't imagine it's putting a good taste in their mouth.
They are it's kind of like blood brothers now, like we've really, that group, we've really bonded. We deal with Lawrence mostly. Gilman, he is absolutely fabulous. I cannot tell you how good he is. When I would say within 10 minutes of this news, we had a call from them saying, we got you covered, just no issue. They know nonsense that we've been through with the city. They're just appalled. It's head scratching. They were frustrated when we had the exhibition game down there in terms of what they were put through at Mile 1, that, behind the scenes, that would be embarrassing for people to know just how bad it was. And so they know what we're up against. But look, they like Glenn, they like Trevor, they like our front office, they like our commitment to doing things right, because we treat the players better than maybe in the other towns and cities they play. And so, I think, look, that's how we ended up in Trois-Rivieres and in Iowa, because the reputation was that, that these guys really treat teams well and they do it first class. And, the feedback I get, because I'm kind of new to all this, is, man, everyone tells us you run a team like an AHL club, in terms of, fitness and food and all the things we do, accommodations, all those things. So I think so with Kyle and Shani and particularly Lawrence Gilman, I mean, they're just wonderful people. And it's interesting talking to Eric Wellwood, who's down coaching now. Is Eric said he got the call. He said, he spoke to his wife. He said within 2 minutes, it's like, Newfoundland, we cannot pass this up. This is where you want to go. This is going to be an adventure. These guys have a great reputation, exciting team. So I think it's something to be proud of.
Yeah. I mean, we've got such a steep hockey culture here. I mean, it's religion here, right? And until you've been to Newfoundland, and a lot of people we've picked up a lot of listeners, believe it or not, all across. It's been weird, but we've got a lot of people who we've picked up from down through the States and up through Ontario and the rest of Canada, and some overseas. And we've been getting feedback from people who aren't from here saying, we're really interested in where you guys are from. we're really interested because you guys know a lot about hockey. Like, how do you know a lot about hockey out in the middle of nowhere? And we're like, well,
We got nothing else
Not much to do.
at.
not much else to do.
No.
Yeah.
It's I think we put a really good product on the ice. Like from your guys' perspective, some background info. Like when we started the first season, it was slow. In terms of fan support. Initially, people thought maybe this wasn't a very good league and the style.
That stigma was strong.
Yeah, and then as we started to build, and now this year when we announced, okay, we're back and we lease was signed. I mean, while the box office struggled with all sorts of issues to be able to issue tickets, we were doing landing pages, and we were going to be absolutely blocked for that opening night. And the support was amazing, but way more season ticket holders than in the past. So it's like we've come into our own. I think, kudos to our guys, our staff, that in the absence of hockey for 18 months, we were really active in the community. And, we did more community events last year in the community than we did the previous hockey year. So we were out there, we were present, we were building the brand, building relationships with the community. So that's important. So I think, now it's kind of like, it's for people, it's not like, what is this? And, it's like, oh man, let's win this thing again. People want to see, and people are hungry for entertainment, obviously. So.
But the reason, I think the fact that you haven't pulled out, because I think most people would have hightailed it.
Yeah.
The fact that you didn't, you're winning people over like that.
Well,
and I appreciate it.
We're engaged. We've spent a lot of time. There's these two guys on the bar across the street from on the embassy, two brothers who I didn't know until I went in there one day to talk to them. That I knew them as children because they were actually in a sporting program with a couple of my kids, and but we've been saying, look, guys, we're going to help you. We're gonna drive fans into this bar, and you're going to be our tailgate bar. And we had the Leafs in when we announced the lease and that, and these guys are devastated. I mean, they told me that the previous two seasons they did more business during hockey season than they do during the summer, and it's going to have a big impact on their business. It's
of course it would.
That's terrible to hear. But how about on the other end now? I mean, that's a small business. What about a business like Mary Brown's who just bought naming rights to the building you were supposed to play in? I mean, I know you can't speak for Mary Brown's, but I mean that's got to be a hit to them as well, eh?
Well, look, I mean, they're a really big organization. They can absorb a hit. I think they're very committed. I know Greg Roberts, the owner, very well, and he's somebody that cares about the community and he wants to be involved and he wants to help. So I saw he put out a statement today that said, he hopes for a quick resolution to this. Right. But yeah, I'm sure that's not what he wanted to sign up for, and. He's probably going to keep his cards vested to see how this plays out.
That would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I would imagine the Growlers was a lot of the reason why probably it's now has a new name, right? We went after them. We actually, Growlers is definitely in traction.
Yeah. We approached Greg and we said, look, Greg, I know the arena's looking for naming partners and I think you should meet with them. And he's someone I know and have a lot of respect for the business he's built right across Canada, and he takes a lot of pride in his business because it's a Newfoundland owned and born business, and he wants to give back to the community, and he actually thinks the association with the Growlers is really good for his business because we can drive a lot of business his way. I mean, what our best promotion the first 2 years was, if we score more than 5 goals or more, you can bring your ticket in and get 5 cents off a liter of gas at North Atlantic. I mean, we went back to them this year. It was just like, yeah, where do we sign? Like that. It's really good when you have corporate sponsors who are going, I'm making this investment in promoting the team and having the suite and all the things that go within signage and all that. But it's even better when they're doing it not just because they're a hockey fan and they get to go to the game, but the economics of it actually work out really well for them. That's
right.
That's the best partnership you can have.
Yep.
And Dean gets a free taters every now and again. Everybody wins, right?
Yeah. I extend my waistline.
No, I'm not gonna lie. When I heard about the naming and the fact they were putting in an Express Mary Browns at the game, I was like, man, this is like a dream come true for me. I mean, like my cardiologist says not so much, but like I was like, this is fantastic news.
Yeah.
Well, all the moderation.
Yeah. Well,
Tater Dome.
You've spoken to Greg about this. Is that I know that the quality of chicken that they put in their product is superior to other fast foods that you can buy. It's lower in calories. It's not cooked the same way. So in terms of what you call convenience food or fast food, a Big Mary is one of the best things you could buy.
Yeah, I was saying to the guys that I was on Facebook there shortly after they did the naming thing, and I was just going through the related posts, and I saw this fried chicken post out of Ontario. People arguing over the best fried chicken, and Mary Brown's had probably the most love out of all of them. I was like, taking over Ontario too.
Top chicken burger in Canada.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, I've been to the stores, and I've had the tours and been in the back of the kitchen. They bring in fresh chicken. It's prepared on site. It's not shipped in frozen, which is like the other guys. So they prepare it. They actually, they have someone there that's taking the pieces and rolling it in the seasoning. And you're getting something really good there.
All right, skip the dishes. Here I go.
I remember a few years ago, I was surprised that they had one in, what's it, Istanbul, Turkey? I don't know if they still have that location.
I believe they have a big expansion over. I think they're planning 40 or 50 stores over.
There was a big fried chicken movement over there, and Mary Brown's is on top of it, man.
So great.
Super cool though, and I mean, like you said, it's a Newfoundland business, and that just makes you love it even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you couldn't possibly love it anymore.
We gotta plug in for Mary Brown's, but we gotta give Dean a chance to get a plug in for the St. John's Edge. I mean, it's a hockey podcast, but I mean, I'm a big Edge fan, basketball guy. My sister's a super fan. She follows the team during the playoffs. Like she actually books flights and goes. So I gotta know, because this happened since our last chat with you. How did that come about, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, there's still some road to travel on this because we started to work with Erwin and Rob, the owners of the team, who quite honestly wanted to get out of St. John's. They were just tired of dealing with the madness. They were in a tough spot. They played, I think, 8 out of 18 games at home before COVID hit. So, there's lots of talk about their debts, et cetera. But in pro sports, if you're gonna get past the negative line, it's going to be late in the season and into the playoffs. So early in the year, it's because you've expended tons of money for uniforms and marketing and all that. So they were in tough, and then they really got no relief from the city, and I think they just said, look, we've had enough. And one of the things the city had asked us to do is, look, can would you be prepared to, clean up the debts and get things done? So we said, yeah, we'll do that. And so we were really surprised. I actually phoned the mayor. I'm going to give you the wrong date, but I believe it was late June, and said, hey, look, we got the deal done. We're going to do this, and we really look forward to playing. And he was like, well, that's great news. It made a lot more sense to have common ownership. And we got a call a couple of days later and said, we're going in a different direction. The ABA. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the process. I'm looking forward to the formal evaluation, how they decided that a 2-sport proposal was not as good as a 1-sport proposal. So this is the type of stuff that I think when I talk about, I'd like to see independent investigation into what's going on down there. Like, that's just incredible. to think that transpired. So we do have some plans for basketball, and hopefully we're hoping over the course of the next couple of weeks to have an announcement on exactly what that's going to look like.
Fantastic.
I'm really looking forward to see how all this shakes out now.
And I know on the
start date for a season like that for the
it's usually Boxing Days, though.
Yeah.
I believe this year it's going
in
to
the
be
past.
Yeah.
Typically
so
around Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, a lot of time to do that. I saw in the NTV you said you had 3 properties you're looking at. I'm not going to ask where. I just know which one I'm voting for. If I know it's there, closer to Southlands, the better.
Well, look,
I'll just say that.
We can play that game. I can say you're warm.
Yeah.
So
get me excited.
You know, one of the sites was in St. John's. That's clearly off the table now.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I can only imagine the nightmare you'd have to go through for that.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's unfortunate. It was actually a really attractive site, and it was high on our list, and that's not even under consideration.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
So like, what's your long-term plan for sports in the city? I'll bet challenges with the city. You're working on plans for a new arena, of course, outside the city. Like, what's your long-term goal? Is there stuff that we haven't heard in the media? I suspect there is. I suspect you got a lot of ideas floating around.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is a bit of a labor of love, and I think anyone who's interested in sports, it's all about passion. So, I have a couple, I have 4 sons, but I have a couple of them that are involved in the business. It's, I'm in a lucky position where I can, I'm trying to say this because it sounds a little over the top, and it's not meant to. I'm in a position I can create an opportunity here and a business here, and I love sports, and I love interacting with the fans and just the feel good nature of doing something in the city. So I think, I'd like to see something continue here. I think St. John's is, an incredibly unique city, and we should have pro sports teams here. And I think with our relationships on the mainland with concert promoters and professional teams at the highest tier, that we can make it work. And so I think when I got into this, I thought it was going to be just more of an aside, and now it's kind of blossomed into something else because it's kind of it's maybe I have one of those addictive personalities. I see an opportunity, I want to take advantage of it. I'm sitting on the executive committee of the league now, so trying to get the league to think outside the box in terms of some of the gaming opportunities we can bring to the arena, so that you can play games on your phone and pick who's going to get the first goal and win a prize and all that. So try and make the game much more interactive. We want to make the game much more inclusive. And if you look at our league, we're playing in a lot of spots that aren't traditional hockey towns, and so we're competing for headspace in a 12-year-old's head that is dribbling a basketball on an inner city court. So I think we can build. The sport because it's an exciting sport. So I think my goals are kind of just trying to do something that we can be proud of.
Yeah, you're doing a great job of that.
Well, trying, but I don't have a master plan. It's just been kind of happening.
And I guess this is also your pilot as well, right? This is your first franchise.
Yeah, and then and we talked about at the beginning. This is you go with the one that brung you, and first love, and we've been treated so well by everybody here, and it's I'm actually in Trinity this evening in outside the city, obviously, and the kids out here, they're playing street hockey. I make sure I bring out books and jerseys and stuff, and just they're absolutely crazy for it, and boy, that's a great feeling. Awesome. That created something from nothing, and I think people are proud of the brand. I think the name, it's just it's a very it's a very unique Newfoundland feel, and now it's something I don't want to see not be in place.
A real conversation with my 8-year-old daughter tonight. She said, well, if the Growlers move outside of St. John's, are they going to have to change their name? I said, no, why? She was thinking of St. John's. I was like, nah, he's a smart man. He said Newfoundland. He wants everybody.
I was just going to say that.
And she thought about it. I'm like, see?
Newfoundland Growlers and not the St.
I said, don't worry about
Growlers.
that, sweetie. It's okay.
No.
Well, look, I just think Newfoundland is better for a myriad of reasons, not least of which we have a Newfoundland dog on the jersey and the history of the regiment and all that. And I always found St. John's, when you look at the actual population of St. John's versus the census metropolitan area, it's only about half the people and shrinking. And so I didn't feel it was representative of who the team was going to be, and knew that ultimately we may aspire to bigger things such as our own arena, etc.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it works because Newfoundland's not that big. It's better to have us all together, and anybody outside St. John's don't want to wear St. John's. I mean, that's it.
No,
I understand it. I grew up here. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. This is true.
I'm from out over to Overpass, so I completely agree.
There's already too many townies on this podcast.
Yes. That's
Dean,
what he brought me in, Dean.
That's what he brought Patty in.
Even it out.
Yeah.
Sure, College from Spanders Bay.
That's true.
I think I was the only townie.
That's true.
I think it's just Chad.
That's what I said. There was too many townies on this podcast.
I'm happy
Dean,
Tony, I guess.
Thanks so much for coming on again, man. We're not going to keep you all night. This is a late night. I mean, you haven't been busy the last couple of days, so it's no big deal, I guess. But we really appreciate you taking the time for us. And again,
I think you guys are doing a great job for us. So as soon as you reached out, like you always know, I'm available and want to help in any way I can. And it's kind of in the evening like this to have a chat with you guys that actually energizes me to get up and go right back at the fight the next day.
Yeah, well, we want
That's
hockey
awesome.
Newfoundland, and you get the best chance for us at that. So we're rooting for you.
Yeah. Headline news tomorrow morning. Dean MacDonald's been kicked out of St. John's. He's bunkering down in Trinity. Headline news.
Yeah, he took asylum in Trinity. Yeah,
that's at least how I'm going to pitch it. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
The word's out.
That's where the Civil War started.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks so much, Dean. Like I said, we're going to knock this on the head.
Good luck with it.
Always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Hopefully, talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right, guys. There you have it. That's another friend of the show. You know what I was thinking when before this? I was like, our first guest last year was Joe Bowen. Our first guest this year was Joe Bowen. Our second guest last year, Dean MacDonald. Our second guest this year, Dean MacDonald. So
that's pretty cool.
When something works, you repeat the hell out of it, right? And that's what we're doing here, folks. So if you tuned in last year, you don't need to watch season 2. It's exactly the same. But
nothing to do with the news the last couple of days.
No.
At all.
Absolutely not.
It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious that it's worked out that way. But anyway, our good friend Dean MacDonald popped on. You guys heard it here first. A lot of updates, a lot of news. So we're so glad he took the time. He always do. He's never not responded to a message when I've sent one to him, and he's that kind of guy. He's treated us well.
He's a man of the people, no matter what some people would tell you.
He is indeed.
He's not many people saying the opposite about him. So
no, absolutely. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute to give a shout out to our sponsor, PHG Sports out of Ontario. Again, they're in Ontario. They don't know much about the Newfoundland Growlers, and this was a Newfoundland-based podcast tonight.
Well, not yet.
Still, we got PHG backing us up.
They're going to get their inaugural championship swag. I said it'll become showing up in the next few years.
Guys, if you're looking for them, they're on www.phgsports.com. That's where you're going to get all your signed memorabilia from all the pros. Again, THG Sports, that's where the pros sign. If you're looking for our content, pretty straightforward. We run everything through YouTube and or Facebook. So you can get us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/DeekSnipeSelly, or on YouTube, just search Deek Snipe Selly. Also, our audio podcast, which is on fire right now. It's doing really well, which is what we really shot for in the beginning. We said we do audio and visual. So our audio podcasts, of course, available anywhere you get your podcasts. And if they don't have it, let us know and we'll make sure it gets there. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Play, and you name it. We're there. So again, thanks so much for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's right there, right next to Kylie. There you go. Pound that subscribe button and make sure to tune in again next time. But until next time, peace out.
Cheers.